during these times of COVID with the Zooms and all, we kind of know firsthand the challenges because we had to recruit this team without face-to-face interaction. So a lot of Zooms and FaceTimes, but a lot of respect for all you guys and looking forward to seeing you soon in person. With our team, we're excited. It was a challenging summer, but so far so good this fall. Guys have started class. We're doing the individual kind of workouts of preseason, and we're anxiously, that's a big word, man, anxiously awaiting the NCAA's decision here literally in the next few days on what college basketball could look like this season. So kind of an exciting time, buzz around our program right now because we're just looking forward to the announcement. So with that, I'll just kind of let you guys channel this with questions, and then if we don't get to anything, I can tell you a little bit about the roster later on.
All right, so if you raise your hand, we'll let you in. We'll start off with raise your hand through the computer.
Eric.
All right, start off with Nathan.
You kind of mentioned putting the roster together. What were you kind of looking at from last year's team and bringing in the new guys this year? Because there's a decent amount of changeover from year to year. That's kind of usual for you guys. But was there anything specifically you were looking for bringing in guys for this year's squad?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I agree with you. It's not unusual for us to have different rosters from season to season. I think it's really becoming the way of college basketball. I think it's more like roster management these days, and certainly as we anticipate a day where transfers can transfer even easily, they can now. Guys going early to the NBA, it's a flux. So it's not a new situation for us. First of all, with me, whenever I think about a roster, putting a team together, it's always about the returners. That's where the base and the foundation is. And this year, there's a special excitement in our program because we have as many returners than we ever have. So we feel like we've got a lot of experience coming back, certainly with guys like Kyler, who started last year as a sophomore and played minutes in the national championship game 2 years ago. Terrence Shannon and Kevin McCullough, two of the best freshmen in the league last year. TJ made the all-freshman team, and Kev would have been there if he would have been healthy all year, no doubt. Kev might have been our best player at the end of the year. So those three guys, and then Clarence got some minutes last year as a freshman. Avery Benson returns, is really the most experienced player in our program, his fourth year in the double T jersey. And then Tareq and Joel got some valuable experience last year redshirting in our program. So I think that's 6 returners, if I'm not mistaken, which gives us a nice base. Next thing in recruiting, you want to recruit the best players around the country, and we go through all avenues. We're committed to recruiting the best high school players in the country. We've always been committed to junior college and transfers, and most recently grad transfers. So first with our 4-man freshman class with Namari and Peavy and Buzo and Vlad. Those guys bring a lot of versatility, obviously a lot of talent, a lot of character, just all the things we're about. Not to put all the pressure on those 4 guys' shoulders, but I proudly say it could be one of, if not the best recruiting class in this program's history. I think it'll pay dividends immediately with some of those guys playing immediately. And then certainly I think the team and program will be based on some of those guys in the future. Transfer, we feel like we got the best guys. We got in that portal. We're committed to recruiting transfers here. We don't just recruit transfers when we have a need. We're committed to doing that. And certainly, whether it be Matt Mooney and Tareq when we played for the championship, or Chris Clark and Holyfield did a great job last year as grad transfer seniors. We think we've got the best senior in college basketball. No disrespect to any other player, but Marcus is our guy. College basketball knows about his talent. He played for a championship program at VCU and a coaching staff that's really, really good. But it's the intangibles that we love. This guy's a leader. He's unselfish. He's not entitled. People gravitate to him. He's just a special guy. We thought that Mac McClung and Jamarius Burton were the 2 best grad transfers in college basketball last year, and we're so appreciative of those guys trusting their careers with us. A lot of respect for Georgetown and VCU and Wichita State, so it's almost a bonus when you can recruit players that have already been coached and held accountable at a high level. So Hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody. Got the freshmen, the transfers, the guys that sat out last year, but we're excited about this team. It's roster management, and we feel like we put a group of guys together that can compete.
All right, we'll go to Carlos.
Chris, I guess just with the type of talent that you brought in, do you kind of feel like you guys are deeper this year? How much will that help you just with kind of the current situation that's going on where someone could get sick or something like that, and you're kind of having to, like you said, roster management throughout this whole season potentially?
Yeah, two great points, Carlos. I agree with. First of all, depth has been a weapon and an ally for us around here. I know that Elite Eight team with Justin and those guys, and the new freshmen, I think Culver, Morrow, and those guys. We love the depth on that team, and it paid dividends. You think about Zach, one of, if not our best player, early gets hurt, and we somehow are still right there competing for the championship and making a nice run in March. That's depth at work. It's one thing for coaches to get up here and look at rosters and talk about it, but it's another thing when it pays dividends. So this year's team, I agree, it could be end up a big part of our identity could be our depth. We've got 14 players, and I have a lot of confidence in all 14 of them. Practices are very competitive right now, workouts, weight room. So I'm optimistic, and that'll be a good thing. I think this team will have an identity. We'll know it as time goes on. But certainly I agree with you, Carlos, that it could be depth. We have had some conversations. We don't spend a lot of time talking about the what-ifs. We try to control what we can control, but it wouldn't be accurate to say that we don't ever talk about the uncertainty and what could happen. But I think if you think about playing a basketball season with the challenges of COVID and maybe a guy being out here for a few days, a guy being out here for a few days, then I would agree with you. The more talent you have on a roster, maybe the more you can survive some of that adversity that I believe every team will go through this college basketball season.
With those returning guys and the transfers you brought in as graduates and all that, who have you kind of empowered to be those leaders in the locker room? Because I know that's one thing you always look for is obviously having returners that can kind of talk to the young guys, or just some graduate transfers that can kind of keep the energy up.
Yeah, all above. Leadership comes in different forms. Some of our best teams have had a young guy be a leader. We've had freshmen come in here strong enough and committed enough to be leaders, and so every team's a little different. But what I would say, two things that we always believe in are seniors. I think the seniors in college basketball, there's a sacredness to them. In a game where the one-and-dones and the NBA and all this gets a lot of attention, I still think one of the best things about college basketball is that guy that stays for 4 years, 5 years, that improves, that stands the test of time, and Marcus is that. Marcus is an improved player. We're so appreciative of him trusting his last year here. He's a pro. He's a future pro. Marcus. So we always look to our seniors. We've seen that, with guys like Holyfield last year and Chris, and certainly with Matt and Tareq. And so we're not afraid to put a new player, a recruit out there. And we recruited Marcus with that in mind. We talked more about leadership in the first conversation than we talked about offense or defense. Another group that's always important to us is our returners. There's something about having played in this program before and knowing what our culture's about, and not only being a part of our culture, but defending our culture every day, knowing what we're about and defending it and executing it and teaching it. And certainly, like I mentioned earlier, with those 4 or 5 returners that played minutes last year, and including Tareq and Joel, who redshirted, you're talking about almost half our team are guys that have been in our program, and that's very, very valuable. And we look to that group for leadership.
Last one for me, because I know other people have questions, but for you, kind of watching the offseason and kind of hearing things, who's kind of helped themselves out throughout the offseason to kind of really kind of show their name and kind of made their name known so far to you?
Yeah, we've had a lot of individual improvements. I could literally talk about each of the 14 players, and some of our coaches and staff have improved this offseason too. I hope that I have in some small way. We're always striving to get better. So, there's so many examples, but I would tell you we've had some John Riley body transformations already from this summer and fall. We've had some guys lose some weight. Jamarius Burton's trying to shape that body into an NBA guard body, and Kyler Edwards is going to try to play a little bit lighter this year to play more minutes, to be more durable. We've also had guys gain weight. Kevin McCullough, really his first true offseason. It's amazing what kind of good player he was last year with really never having an offseason. It's a credit to his talent his intelligence, and just how he went about it. He ran his own race. Some frustrating times for everybody involved, including Kevin, me. But now he's as healthy as he's ever been. He's running his own race, and he's improved. So that'd be two examples, Carlos. I could talk all day about individual improvements and guys that are catching our eye early. But there's a lot of good going on in our program right now.
All right, we'll go to Eric Kelly.
Coach, what was the recruiting process like for Mac McClung, and what did you really sell him on in terms of coming to Texas Tech?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Mac. He'll be in front of you guys a lot this year, obviously. So I can tell you from my perspective, it was interesting trying to recruit a guy with FaceTime and Zoom and text messages and videos. I'm much better face-to-face. It's kind of out of my comfort zone. I'm a relationship guy. It's how I coach. It's how I live. It's how I think you win. So the challenge was trying to develop a relationship with guys like Mac over the Zoom. And from my point of view, I thought we executed about as well as we could. From our very first conversation to our very last conversation, when he told me he was coming to Texas Tech, I thought we told each other the truth. We held true to a timeline. We didn't pressure each side to speed up or slow down a process. Ultimately, I feel really good about how we recruited Mac in a tough situation. But that would be a question for him when you guys get in front of him sooner than later. He's a special player. I don't like to put the weight of the program on one player's shoulders, but I have no problem telling you this is one of the best guards in college basketball. He's a guy that's about the right things. It's not him, it's his teammates, it's his team, it's winning. He obviously went through the NBA process last spring before deciding to transfer and had some valuable feedback. And he's a guy that took that feedback and he's working on some things. So, we're really excited. I'm proud to be Mac McClung's coach, I'll tell you that.
Isaiah not being on the roster, did that just end up being a scholarship thing and just not having enough maybe for him and wanting him to be on scholarship somewhere else?
No, it wasn't that at all. I don't want to speak for Zay, but the last time I talked to Zay, his intention was to pursue professional basketball. So, again, I don't want to speak for him, but the last conversation I had with Zay, his decision was based on playing time and wanting to pursue pro basketball. And we appreciate his contributions, this summer in our program and wish him nothing but the best, including if that in fact is true, if he ends up playing pro basketball, we wish him the best.
Have you heard from the NCAA in terms of Jamarius and Mac, or is that something that you're hoping comes in the next couple weeks, months?
Yeah, it's in the process right now, in the process.
And then where do you want Kyler to grow the most? What's the next step for him?
I think with Kyler, to me personally, and Kyler knows this, we talk all the time, one-on-one, just consistency. I don't need Kyler to do anything that he can't do or that he hasn't done before. You guys think back of our season last year when we were playing our best or some of our best basketball. I think we were solidly in third place in the league behind Baylor and Kansas, who were basically one seeds. Kyler, we were winning games on a regular basis. Kyler was the Big 12 Player of the Week. That's not a fluff award in our league. Go back and look at it and study it. Any player that's ever gotten that award is a Big 12 player, a pro. So that's the talent side of Kyler. What we got to get to is the consistency, where he is at his best every game, every possession, every moment. And we don't need him to play perfect. I'm not talking about hitting every shot. I'm not talking about playing his best statistical game. I'm talking about consistency and being the good player and good leader and great person he is. So me personally, that consistency word is the word that I'm trying to get Kyler to understand, and he's been great. The guy wants to be coached. The transformation from Kyler to freshman to sophomore was amazing, and I'm not so sure we're not seeing it again.
And then finally for me, has kind of what's been going on around y'all and, changings of schedules, has that thrown off where you guys are in terms of your team chemistry compared to other seasons?
Us personally, no. I mean, look, these are trying times for everybody. Not only the COVID-19, which is real and affects all of us, our families, but also the things going on in our country right now. This is real. We're all living during really, unpredictable and kind of adverse times. Captain Obvious there. I think everybody would agree with that. But what we've done internally with our organization, our basketball program, is just to try to stay true to who we are. And you guys have heard it a million times. You know as well as anyone that we're a process-driven program. We don't really worry about the next day or the next weekend or the next game or the next season or the next tournament. What we're trying to do is win today. And win today is our process, from fueling the body to recovery to academics to basketball to weight room to strength conditioning. So we try to control the things that we can control. You guys think back. I don't talk about the officiating a lot because I can't control the officiating. So we really don't talk about the uncertainty of the season, when it starts, what's it going to look like, where are we going to be playing, because we're not making those decisions. We're not in control of that. But what we're in control of is what's in our minds and in our effort and in our hearts every day. And I've been proud of these players. These 14 guys, far from perfect, myself included, but man, our focus has been laser focused. We haven't had a lot of wasted time worrying about the what ifs. We haven't had a lot of wasted time sulking about this or that. I mean, these guys have been working, and it's been a joy to see. And, I'm excited to coach this team. I think we have a chance to be competitive and really, really good.
Go to Pete Christie. Pete, are you there?
You're on mute, Pete.
All right. Good.
Can you hear me now?
Got you.
Okay, it's probably better you didn't hear me. But Coach, I just wanted to get an update on the Wombo and how that's going. Getting updated and with the with things.
Yeah, thanks for asking, Pete. It's exciting, every day pulling into the USA and driving by, it's just going up. Obviously, it's been affected a little bit by the COVID in terms of workers coming and going, and really the economy. They told me the other day that the chairs for the video room might be a little late because of the things going on. Understandable, right? So it's not that we're off schedule at all. It's just the schedule's been affected by things we can't control. But it's going up beautifully. We expect, and I confidently say, that we will be in there this fall, sooner than later. The players can't wait to get in there. Simply stated, it's going to be the best basketball training facility in the country. It's going to be transforming. Our student athletes are going to be the ones that benefit mostly. Training facility where they can get in every day, all day. And then also it's obviously going to help in recruiting, which it already has, but just so appreciative of the donors, certainly the Womble family and so many others that stepped up, the Crowfoot Court, and so many people stepped up to make this happen. Appreciative of the administration, making basketball a commitment here. And so it's exciting. I appreciate you asking about that. We look forward to having our first press conference in the Womble where you guys can take a look at it. And it's just a lot of fun things to anticipate this fall, no doubt.
With 7 new guys and 7 returners, can you just talk about how these guys are gelling together, as that's just so important for team camaraderie?
Yeah, chemistry is everything. You can't force it. You can't go out and buy it. It happens naturally, but there is an acceleration process, I think. I think you can actively work at becoming a better teammate. You can actively work at about being more connected. And this is our challenge. I mean, you think about our league, we're going to compete against teams like a Texas, an Oklahoma, a Baylor that has most of their players returning. That's a challenge. That's an advantage for those schools right now. But we can catch up. Certainly, you think about how many players we lost from our Elite Eight team, and then 1 year later playing for the championship with a lot of new guys. We obviously got it done that year. Chemistry or time wasn't an excuse, but you got to work on it. And so that's what we're doing now. We're actively working on helping these guys get together as a unit. Some of those things are coach assisted, but the real team chemistry happens when the coach isn't there. When I'm up in the office after practice and when those players are in that locker room by themselves, that's where it matters most. And I think this team's off to a great start, led by our returners, led by our new guys, and certainly Marcus, our senior.
And last question, with just all this uncertainty and what ifs, how do you keep guys focused, moving forward, and full steam ahead?
Yeah, Pete, just what I said earlier, controlling the things that we can control, worrying about the day-to-day process and not tomorrow or next week or what the season's going to look like. So, our guys got up this morning trying to win the day, trying to execute the process, and our staff woke up today trying to assist and help our players reach their goal of winning the day. So again, fueling the body, nutrition, recovery, individual work, shooting, team practice, academics, balance, unselfishness, just trying to execute the process each day.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, we'll go to Billy.
Hey, Coach, just want to get your quick thoughts on Micah Peavy. Obviously, he played with Tobias in high school. What's it like to have a guy like Micah coming in, along with Chibuzo and company, just going from a great school in Duncanville, now again, another guy on like down here?
Well, first of all, all those guys, but the question was about Micah. It's nice coaching one of the best players in the country, in that class. He's it was a Jordan Brand All-Star, a 5-star recruit, in my mind, a McDonald's All-American. I don't know how that works, and respect all the players like Namari that got that, but if Mike is not one of the best 15 players in the country last year, then I'm not so sure what people are looking at. But Mike is special. He's obviously a positionless player. He can literally play the point guard all the way to the forward. He's just a special talent. He has the length and the athleticism and the skill, the toughness, the desire, the competitiveness, and the IQ to play this game for a long, long time after college. And the intangibles, again, is what always separates it for us. You're talking about a guy that has been coached. Mom and dad were both college basketball players. His dad is one of the best coaches in the country, and I'm not saying that because he's my friend or because I coached him or because he's Micah's dad. He really is. Nobody's going to raise their eyebrows at that comment. David Peavy knows what he's doing. Duncanville's a championship program, and Micah, won but after being in that program. So another unselfish guy. You wouldn't know he's a 5-star guy. He walks around here just like the most humble and unentitled guy you'd ever met. So Mike is special, along with all those guys. I could talk about our players all day, every day, but that question was about Micah, and I was proud to answer it.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about Joel and Tomway and what we could expect to see from them?
Yeah, so Joel, obviously last year, disappointing, not being able to play, but you control what you can control. No excuse program. So I was really proud of Joel. For the most part, he took that news last year and just went to work. He did get better. He's got a more athletic, kind of stronger body than he had 2 seasons ago at UNLV. So physically, there's been some changes. I think definitely mentally with film study and just getting older and getting more mature. He played for a great coach, Marvin, at UNLV. We've been very fortunate with the transfers on our roster this year. You look at the coaches they played for before they got here, and they're all big-time coaches. Just look at them. Marvin is certainly at the top of that list. So we know he'd been coached at UNLV. He'd played in big-time games, so we're getting an experienced player. I thought he used the redshirt year well, and so we're excited that he's back in Lubbock, and we're looking for him to have a good season. There's high expectations on Joel. But he himself has the highest expectations on himself. So basketball-wise, positionless player, can play 4 different spots, maybe even 5. A guy that is versatile, a guy that can do a lot of things both in our offense and our defense, and then certainly has a little bit of the experience factor having been here last year.
You have another one, Joe? Or is that it? Okay, we'll go back to Carlos. You got another question?
Hey, Coach, you kind of talked about it a little bit with some of the body changes. A guy that's really not mentioned that much just because he had a year off last year because he was redshirted, Tareq Smith. What has he done to improve himself and just get him into that player that you had talked about having the best redshirt possible?
Yeah, I agree with you, Carlos. So there's only so much time and so much ink, and you guys don't mention all 14 guys in the stories and features. You can't, but Tareq will make people be mentioning him sooner than later. This is a guy that would have played for us as a freshman, arguably was our best athletic forward on last year's team, and an above-the-rim airspace guy that's working really hard on his skill, another tough, team-first, unselfish guy. Had some adversity last year, Because of the timing, we went ahead and decided to redshirt him. Didn't want to waste his year late. So he's stronger and, just a better player than he was when he arrived. Give our coaching staff and our program some of the credit for that, and certainly Tareq's the one putting in the work. So now you're looking at a guy that'll be a freshman on paper, but a second-year player in reality. So that's always good when you get a young guy out there, but he has that experience. With Reek, we look for him to play a role this year, and he's right there competing for major minutes and a major role. He's athletic. He's worked on his game, really stretching the floor, can shoot the ball. I think he'll be a three-point shooter during his college career at some point. It wouldn't surprise me if it's this year.
Go back to Nathan.
The current timeline has you guys starting the season closer to Thanksgiving. I think it's November 25th. Do you have any thoughts on pushing it back? Will that help you guys in terms of having more time, or just any kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think all of us coaches have opinions and ideas, but at this point, it's in the NCAA's hands, so it really doesn't matter what I think anymore. I try to contribute my voice to represent our program and my views and the Big 12 views. One of the great things about our league, guys, is you've got 10 coaches that, for the most part, are really connected. We meet as head coaches on Zoom meetings, and in normal non-COVID years, we meet in person, and so certainly led by some of the Hall of Fame coaches in our conference, and then me being one of the younger guys. I try to play my role, but yet have a voice. I love basketball, and I want the game to be better. And so really where my mind always goes is to the game and the players. So I think with the start date, certainly I think some things came out yesterday. You guys understand at this point, that's just kind of people's opinions. It won't be real until the NCAA stamps it. And what they're saying is mid-September. And I think specifically that's September 16th, I believe. But no matter when the season starts, we'll have a plan. And no matter when the season starts, we intend to be competitive. We intend to be a part of the fight. Again, the thing I would tell you, I'm really proud of our players, how they've embraced this once-in-a-lifetime, unprecedented, just tough situation we're all living in. I mean, our guys have been really good. Our young guys, coming straight from high school and their first college experiences under the COVID-19 restrictions. It's been tough, but I got a lot of respect for our players, man. They have worked and really have had a business-like mentality.
All right, and we'll finish up. Eric, one more question.
Coach, we've jumped to a couple of players so far. Obviously, Namari stands out just in terms of his talent, but what beyond that makes him a special player?
Yeah, similar to what I was saying about Micah and really all these guys. Nobody needs me to tell you how talented Namari is. That's well documented, but it's the intangibles, just like all these freshmen, like Mac McClung, like JB, like our returners, Kevin Kyler. I mean, there's just a certain kind of fit to these guys. There's an unselfishness. There's a sense of no entitlement. There's a desire to be a great teammate. Namari's special, man. I mean, Namari treats our student manager like he treats our head coach, with respect and just a joy to live, man. I've been around Namari a lot since this summer, and I really haven't seen him have a bad day. He's had some bad moments and bad possessions, but so have I. I haven't seen a bad day. He's got a joy for life. I think you got to give his mom and dad a lot of credit for that. And we look to help take that to the next level. That's our job as his college coaches, that he finds that. And I tell you another one about Marcus, guys. This kind of hit home pretty special. Haven't told anybody this yet to my knowledge, but one of the areas in our facility every year is designated for seniors. Last year we had Chris Clark and Holyfield up there, and the year before it was those seniors, Brandon Francis and those guys. So we have the wall all ready for the branding and all, and we're going to put Marcus up there. And Marcus kind of got wind of this, and he came to me in a one-on-one moment, not to bring any sense of publicity to himself, no self-promotion, no fluff. It was me and him, no cell phones, no Twitter. And he said, "Hey, Coach, I just don't feel comfortable with that. I want everybody on the team in our graphic." And that's just an example, man, of the no entitlement, unselfishness that's going on around here. And I've seen it in the young guys, and I've certainly seen it in our older guys, and I see it in our seniors. So that's a pretty cool story, and that'll be one that I won't forget. Those are the things that'll be going through my mind on senior night. With Marcus is that's an unselfish dude, guys. You guys are going to love following him this year and covering our team. All these guys are really worthy of y'all's respect. I think you're going to enjoy this team.
And then finally, Krista, in her opening press conference, mentioned how you guys were coaching at the same time back in the early 2000s. You kind of talked about what your hopes and dreams were. Is it crazy that both of y'all now, so many years later, have come back and been the head coach at Texas Tech now?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Krista, and I'll tell you why. She's a worker. She's a grinder. She's paid her dues. Obviously, she was a national championship player, but yet she did what she had to do to get her coaching career to get back to Texas Tech, where I think was always her objective. I don't want to speak for her, but the program that she had at West Texas A&M, we have some common ground there because I coached in the same league at Angelo State. I understand what that was all about and what she did there. And then certainly at UT Arlington, most recently working side by side with Chris Ogden, my good friend that did great things here. So I knew Krista years ago. Our kids grew up together, and I remember sitting with her at a couple of girls' youth basketball games in the metal bleachers back in the day. So she has my full support, and she that whole program and those players do as well. Just like every coach that I've worked with over the years, Krista's no different. I think men's basketball supports women's basketball, completely, and we want to see her get off to a great start.